My name is Kevin Fernandez and welcome to my channel, Gamers Genie. Today, we're going to learn how to play the comic book dice game, Avengers Infinity War, Thanos Rising. This 2 to 4 player game designed by Andrew Wolf and published by The Op. Thanos, the Mad Titan, has descended upon Earth to try to collect all 6 Infinity Stones and wipe out half the universe with just a snap of his fingers. The heroes from all over, known as the Avengers, have gathered to try to defeat Thanos in one last standstill. Will they be successful, or will unfortunately they be dusted? Find out as we go to the table and learn how to play Thanos Rising. Lay out the Infinity Gauntlet with the 6 Infinity Stones and the 6 Infinity Stone cards nestled into it. Like so. With the text side face down. Place the matching Infinity Stones on each of these cards like I just did, with the yellow Infinity Stone counters nearby. There you go. Place all dice, the red damage counters, and bonus tokens, and I'm going to put all that off to the side, off camera, within easy reach of all players. And like I said, those are all going to be off to the side. Little note, these dice are to be shared amongst the players. Place the deployment zone between the players with the Thanos figurine in the center of it facing a random sector. And I always have them facing forward, but that's just me. Each player chooses a team by collecting a team base or randomly selected and its matching team deployment token. The card indicates the player's starting dice pool. So I'll give Jordan Nowhere, and I'll take the Sanctum Sanctorum. We'll put the other 2 back into the box. And so Jordan gets 3 red dice, and the purple. If you ever see this purple, it's this black die. Oh wait, I gotta keep that off to the side. And then I get 3 red dice and a green die. And you also get the starting hero for each player's team. So I'll get Doctor Strange, and Jordan will get Gamora. Then we shuffle the deck, and I'll turn my magic on now. Like so. And we deal out the top 9 cards. 3 for each sector. Like so. And this will make up the initial assets that players can interact with as they attempt to recruit heroes and defeat villains. And then we'll just place the deck nearby. I will just place it right here. And that completes the setup. The player who most recently watched a movie from the MCU goes first. And play proceeds clockwise. Place your team deployment token in a sector. So we'll place them right here. Actually, it would benefit me more if I go here. So we'll place it in this sector right here. Roll and resolve Infinity Stones and Thanos dice. We roll. So this means that we add 1 to the Power Stone. And this means that we re-roll the Infinity Stone die. This one means that we move Thanos to the left, which is always hard to do. This one means we move them back to the right. Sometimes you'll have to take them out in order to rotate them. And then this symbol, and I'll show larger versions of them on when I'm editing this. It just means that you activate these villains. But we rolled this one, which means we re-roll. This means that we go after the Soul Stone. We place a token right there. And obviously if you roll yellow, it'd be mind, green would be time, blue, space, and red reality. So we roll our power dice and we assign it at least one die to what's in our sector. So we're gonna assign this to Loki, and then we roll the remaining dice, and you just keep rolling until either you fail or succeed in getting the card or defeating the enemy you want. So you apply results of assigned power dice by recruiting heroes, and I showed you how that is, and removing all damage counters added to them, adding damage to villains, and I can show you how that works. So it's basically the same thing. If you match the symbols, so we have these two and this one, and that will then add a damage to a villain in our sector. I can replace that. It can also resolve hero abilities and helps you draw bonus tokens. So, and then finally, if anybody is defeated, such as heroes or villains, we discard them and then we replace them immediately. From the asset card deck, and we collect the deployment token. So the first player chooses where to deploy their team by placing their team deployment token in a sector, and I showed you previously how that works, but I'm going to choose a different sector now. And there's only 3 that you can choose from, so there's 1, 2, 3. The 3 face-up cards in this sector are the heroes and villains the active player can assign dice to this turn. The active player rolls their Infinity Stone and Thanos dice and resolves their effects in that order, indicating Thanos' schemes and actions. The Infinity Stone die represents Thanos' increasing control over the Infinity Stones. This is indicated by adding a counter to the Infinity Stone card, matching the color of the die that you rolled. The Thanos die represents Thanos' actions to rally his villainous followers and attack the heroes that are threatening his plans. The possibilities for the Thanos dies, including changing the sector that Thanos faces either clockwise or counterclockwise, and I showed it's the left or right, so L or R, and subsequently attacking heroes there or forcing an additional roll of the Infinity die. So he went into the sector, got some heroes to damage, or triggering the abilities of all villains not in Thanos' current sector. Thanos always attacks each hero in the sector he is facing after the Thanos die is resolved. The active player's team deployment token is in that sector. Thanos will also attack each hero in the active player's team since they are present in that sector. So that'd be 1 damage. Thanos' attack is resolved by adding 1 damage counter to all heroes in that sector after resolving the Thanos die. Villains in Thanos' resulting sector will then have their abilities triggered. So we have Ebony Maw. If Thanos is in this sector, roll the Infinity Stone die an additional time, which we shall do, and that we get 1 more to the Reality Stone. After resolving the Infinity Stone and Thanos die, the active player then collects and rolls the powered dice pool, which would be this for me, or this for Jordan, as we are now in Jordan's. We roll that. Power dice have different combinations of symbols representing the hero's powers. Battle, technology, mystic, and cosmic. Dice rolled will be assigned to asset cards in order to either recruit heroes or defeat villains, or to activate some heroes' abilities. So, Jordan can actually activate her ability, which if she has another Guardians of the Galaxy hero in her team, she can roll an extra red or black die each turn. She doesn't, so unfortunately she can't do that. So what she'll do is just assign dice to Maw. And there we go. And that would leave. The active player consults the result of their opening power dice roll. They must now assign one or more dice to match symbols on one of their assets in their sector. The goal is to either recruit a hero or attack a villain. They must assign at least one die to match a symbol on a card and can only assign one and only one of the assets in their sector with each roll. Once assigned, dice cannot be moved or re-rolled for their turn. So you could just say that's not what she was doing. Instead, she just wanted to recruit Okoye, so she'll just put that in, and then she can re-roll the rest of her dice as they're not the symbols she needs. Either or works fine. If a player cannot assign a die to a card in their sector, they must select and forfeit one die from their die pool. For the turn, it is always advisable to try to assign a die to match at least one symbol. After assigning or forfeiting at least one die, the active player rolls the remaining dice in their pool, attempting to match their symbols. Usually they will want to be in the same card they assigned dice to for their first roll, but can choose any asset in their sector. If dice can be assigned to meet the requirements for all symbols on a card, the asset will either be recruited if they are heroes or damaged if they are villains. And I've demonstrated what both of those have looked like earlier in this video. And this will all happen at the end of their turn. The active player continues to roll and assign or forfeit dice until there are no dice remaining in the pool, or it becomes impossible to successfully assign enough dice to meet the requirements of a card in that sector, and proceed to the final step of their turn. After assigning or forfeiting all the dice in their pool, the active player completes their turn by resolving the following phases in this order. So first, you activate abilities of heroes on their turn, on their team, that have dice assigned to them. So Gamora doesn't have any dice assigned to her, and she doesn't have anybody else in her team. That means that this is skipped for now. She can then, if she has anybody, like let's say she went over here instead and recruited Drax, she can then recruit him. And then that would be filled up. She can then, if she was trying to attack a villain, she could add a damage counter, and I've demonstrated how that looks. With power dice assigned to match their symbols, then gain a bonus token for each damage counter added to a villain. They are random, so you never know what you're going to get. This includes assigning dice as well as other hero and team abilities. Note, the active player may not use the abilities of heroes and bonus tokens on the turn they are recruited or gained. So Jordan can't use Drax's ability, I couldn't use Loki's ability, and Jordan couldn't use this token. Though it may have been useful to her, she has to wait until her next turn, because it is now no longer her turn. And you can discard any defeated heroes or villains, and what that means is those with damage equal to their damage capacity, which means this one needs 3, Okoye needs 4. Replace the defeated heroes or villains from the deployment zone with cards from the asset deck. Set defeated characters aside to keep track of endgame conditions. So you should really keep any defeated, so you should keep your defeated heroes and your defeated villains in separate discard piles, and these are going to be off camera because it's too close to here. Any collected infinity stones in the gauntlet, you just take them, place them in their spot, and flip it over to its ability. After recruiting heroes and attacking villains, the active player, collects their team deployment token as they return to the safety of their base. And it is the next player's turn. Proceeding clockwise, play continues with the next active player deploying their team, rolling Infinity Stone and Thanos dice as Thanos advances his plots and schemes. Then, their team power dice as they attempt to recruit heroes and defeat villains. If the players can defeat enough villains before Thanos collected all 6 Infinity Stones, they win the game. For an easy game, a player must defeat 7 out of 10 villains in the asset deck, but you can scale up the difficulty by trying to defeat more. And the players can lose the game, though, in a few different ways. So first of all, Thanos will then collect all the Infinity Stones. That's one way you can lose. We all lose the game. He has mastered control of the Infinity Gauntlet and wreaks havoc on the very fabric of reality. If collectively 10 or more heroes have been defeated, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all players lose as they have taken too many losses to successfully mount a coordinated attack on Thanos. If any one player has all the heroes in their team defeated, so that would be Loki for me, as well as Doctor Strange, all players lose, as Thanos has eliminated one of the team's key bases of operation. A little note, if players were to both win and lose the game at the same time, for example, Thanos collects all 6 Infinity Stones, and the final villain is defeated, the players win. So, let me repeat that. If Thanos managed to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, and there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say we're doing 7, 6, 7, and we had 7 villains defeated, we, as the players, me and Jordan, win the game. And that's all you need to know to play Avengers Infinity War Thanos Rising. If you have any questions about this game, please put them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get to them as soon as I possibly can. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to be notified for videos just like this. And if you're feeling in the charitable mood, considering supporting Meeples for Peeples. This is a wonderful charity. We did promote it last year, but we did not give it the time it deserved. We kind of let it fall through the cracks because we forgot about where each unboxing video was going to be. We're going to try to prevent to do that. But their main goal is to make sure that everybody has the right to play a board game. And so you can donate money, board games, and they donate them to all sorts of nonprofit organizations, schools, emergency services, and other locations as well. I'll leave a link to their website in the description below, so feel free to check them out. And I hope to see you in our next gameplay video for Thanos Rising. But until then, thanks for the views.